Good morning, good evening. Welcome to Help the Helpers. And we were just talking about how this is a very special day. It's the first day of the end of the year, the first day of the week that will begin a new year. And it's very special to be together on this day and to think about focusing. Alistair is going to help us think about what's unique about focusing. And it seems like an outgrowth, in a way, of our theoretical symposium yesterday, in which we were talking about what is that magic that happens in focusing and what makes that. So this feels like another view of that. So, Alistair, I know you as very dedicated to help the helpers and thinking deeply about things. And there's a wonderful sort of curiosity and pursuit of what you're interested in. But I don't know a lot about your background. So, since Katerina isn't here this morning, I wonder if you could just tell us a few words about yourself.
Sure. Um, Maybe first we could just take a breath.
Yes. Oh, maybe we should all take a breath.
Yeah. And
Seems
just
good idea.
notice the room around you and the sounds and the silences and the support under you and the contact that your body makes with that support. And yeah, and bringing our attention inwards also to the throat, the heart area, and the belly. And yeah, and I'll share my slides. I'll start from there. So, just a minute.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, there's my email address if you want to reach me. And yeah, we'll be talking about what makes focusing different from other modalities. Uh, Mainly going through some of the points that Ann Weiser Cornell made in her book, Focusing in Clinical Practice. Also, if there's time, we'll talk about what makes a difference in general. So in our focusing, we can pay attention. It might be helpful to pay attention particularly to things that make a difference or that make the most difference. Then around 9 a.m. New York time, we can go into rooms for uh, even 25 minutes maybe. And after that, yeah, there will be space and time for reflection. And even as I'm talking, if you have questions or comments, um, or if there's something that's not clear, maybe my accent, or maybe I speak too fast, feel free to jump in. I leave it up to your judgment. And yeah, so a bit about my background first. Uh, I have training in mathematics and some training in computer science, but I haven't been active in mathematics or computers for several years now. I've been focusing for since about the year 2000, and I got certified as a trainer 3 years ago with Charlotte Howorth. Yeah, I realized that I'm not too good at managing my own time, money, or career. Um, and I would also say I'm a self-help junkie. And I just wanted to mention, yeah, the latest two methods that I'm interested in. And I'm not recommending them. I don't know. I've only just started looking into them, but they might pique your interest. There's one called the alter ego effect uh, by a performance coach called Todd Herman, and another one called structural thinking by another coach. Robert Fritz is a coach and also a musician. He's been composing music. He's in his 80s now, I think. Yeah, anyway, that's just a bit about me. Yeah, so what makes focusing different? There are many modalities and techniques in therapy and in self-help that include things like empathic listening, non-judgmental listening. They give space for emotions. Those are good, we want those in therapy and in self-help. I want to make it clear I'm not a therapist myself. I don't have any qualifications in psychology. But yeah, so these empathic listening and giving space for emotions, uh, they are helpful. I would say they're also essential for focusing, and focusing offers more than that. And Ann Weiser Cornell had written a book in 2013 uh, called Focusing in Clinical Practice. It's She says that her book is mainly about what a felt sense is and why the forming of a felt sense is at the heart of change. Yeah, and the concept of a felt sense. I mean, felt senses are things that come naturally, and we assume that people have been having them for thousands of years. Um, but the concept, yeah, I guess they were only recognized thanks to Jen work, and uh, yeah, and the purpose of her book, she says, is firstly so that to help people grasp what makes focusing powerful. She says uniquely powerful, uh, as a way of supporting your clients in the change that they need, and to give practitioners the tools to bring this work uh, to their clients in the ways that fit for the client and for the practitioner. And she does say that it's mostly aimed at psychotherapists, but it could be used by coaches and trainers and massage therapists and many other modalities as well. So yeah, when I actually checked in the book, she only mentions the word unique maybe 3 times, and it doesn't clearly identify things that make focusing unique. But she does give several features of the felt sense, and helps to distinguish felt sense from emotions. So we'll look at some of those features and the differences that she identifies. Yeah. She says that the felt sense is the least understood aspect of Jenkins' work and the aspect that has the greatest transformative power. So here are some of the features. Uh, a felt sense is freshly forming. Uh, it's not just something that is already there and we discover it. It's something that forms while we're focusing. It forms maybe because we were focusing, because we invite it. It's whole. It's about a whole situation, not just bits and pieces.
One English muffin, Nancy.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think, Nancy, I think if you could mute. Um, yeah, a felt sense is a bodily sense of some life situation, and it has a quality of more than words can say. Um, Yeah, and focusing is very much about paying attention to what is implicit and helping to make it explicit. Yeah, another feature of the felt sense that I'd like to pay attention to is that it's experienced in the present, in the here and now. And um, yeah, so um, just by contrast, I mean, there are many things that are good things and important things in our life, like finances, health issues, security. And if we're having problems, those could be, it could be important to pay attention to finances and health issues, safety or security. Focusing doesn't say that we should ignore those. It's just that what focusing offers is to pay attention to what we're experiencing right now. And uh, we could focus on something that happened last week, or something that happened 10 years ago, or something that we're hoping or fearing will happen next week or in 10 years' time. But in focusing, we're paying attention to what comes up for me now as I reflect on what happened last week or what might happen next week. We pay attention to what we're experiencing here and now and the texture and quality of that experience. And there's something similar in nonviolent communication. You might be familiar with that. That's a nonviolent communication, of course, is not focusing, but and in particular, it's about interpersonal relations, conflict resolution. But a very big part of nonviolent communication is trying to connect to what is alive in me right now and what is alive in you. Right? Yeah, what is alive right now. Yeah, so paying attention to, again, the texture and quality of that. And uh, these might not be pretty or comfortable. What we're experiencing right now might be uh, quite difficult, might be unpleasant. We might wish that it wasn't here, and uh, and it's helpful to
Alistair, I want to
yes,
listen to every word you say because you're
mhm,
saying something very important. It's
mhm,
hard for me to fully understand you. Can you slow down a bit, please, if it's
yeah,
possible? I would
yeah,
really appreciate that.
yeah,
I want to hear everything that you say.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you so much.
Maybe
Okay,
we could take the slide away so we could see you, Alice,
um,
too, because
No, the slide is good because that
oh,
makes
the
me
slide
understand
is good.
what it's
Okay.
saying.
Okay, good. Good, good.
and I guess people could choose to pin my my video, so if they want to
Oh,
see,
yes, that's a good idea.
we
Thank you.
can, yeah. Yeah, so I was just going over what I said before and hopefully a bit slower. I do have a tendency to talk quickly, so thank you for uh, bringing that to my attention. Um, yes, so um, yeah, there are many things that that could be important, maybe that are important. Yeah. Like just to give examples, finances, health issues, security, education. I mean, there's so many things that could be important. And in focusing, we don't particularly pay attention to those, not because they're not important, but because focusing, what focusing has to offer is uh, comes from paying attention to what we're experiencing right now and the texture and quality of that experience. And what we're experiencing might be unpleasant. We might wish that it's not there. And it's helpful to be with it gently, not to dive into it, and get overwhelmed, because we want a practice that is sustainable, that we can do over and over again, and a practice that we want to do over and over again. And that is something that I really appreciate about focusing, that I actually enjoy it. I might not enjoy the problems that I have in my life, but I usually enjoy doing some focusing about. And that itself is reassuring, because I know that when I have problems or confusion in my life, I know that probably every week, maybe even twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes, I'm going to have a focusing session where there will be time for me to uh, to be with those experiences. And that itself that knowledge, and the memory of previous focusing sessions can be reassuring. I find it reassuring. Yeah. So I want to pass on, oops, sorry. Yeah, so passing on to other features that Anne highlights, features of the felt sense. I'm not going to read them all. And the slides, they're in the chat if you want to download them. But yeah, so one certainly an important feature is that the felt sense is bodily experience, not necessarily in the physical body, uh, yeah, and also that it's usually hard to describe. And I want to make some reflections on those two features, because yeah, bodily experience is something that we want in a felt sense. We want to have a bodily experience. We pay attention to our body. We invite a felt sense to form, and if it forms in our body, great. Maybe it will come as images or gestures or sounds. But if it wants to come in our body, then we make space for that. We can actually use bad guessing to provoke a bodily response. So bad guessing is, if the focuser says, I'm feeling something and I'm not sure what it is, the companion could say, is it a small green mountain? Something random like that. Just throwing out something, but something specific, so that the focuser can respond to that. And probably they'll say, no, it's not a small green mountain, no. But from that they can go on, it's usually easier to go on to, oh, but it is more like a pink elephant, or whatever it is that comes up for the focuser. So yeah, so we could use that technique to provoke a bodily response, because we want bodily responses, if possible. We also acknowledge signs that come from the body. The focuser is sighing, or maybe pulling a face or going red in their face, or maybe making some unconscious gesture, like tapping their finger, or holding themselves very tightly. It can be helpful to acknowledge that, because the client themselves might not uh, be aware of it. I mean, might not be consciously aware of that. Also, in focusing, when things shift, we often feel the felt shift in our body, and we welcome those. Those are an independent confirmation that something has changed. Yeah. So this feature of the felt sense, that it is a bodily experience, it's something that we want to have. By contrast, the other feature that we described, that we mentioned, is that felt senses are hard to describe. Gendlin used to say that they're vague and murky, at least initially. Now, this isn't something that we actively want. I mean, if some things are already easy to describe, they're already explicit, and that's wonderful. Okay? I don't see any value in trying to make them difficult to describe. If there's something that is easy to describe, great, go with it. And you probably don't need focusing for that. The value of focusing is in paying attention to what is difficult to describe. So the fact that something is vague and murky, that is maybe not something that we want, but we certainly make space for it, because it's an indicator that there's something potentially valuable here, and potentially valuable if we stay with it and gently try to make it explicit. Yeah. So then there's also Anne, in her book, talks about the ways in which felt senses and emotions are similar and ways in which they are different. And that can also be important, because I notice sometimes in my focusing, or in other people's, that we just fall back on only doing empathic listening or only being with emotions. And that's missing, the it's missing what focusing has to offer. There's nothing wrong, we need empathic listening, and we need to have space for our emotions. But we want to specifically be with the felt senses. So felt senses and emotions are similar in at least 4 ways. They come of themselves. This is, we can't control them. We can't always control when we'll have an emotion or when we have a felt sense. They can be invited or evoked. They are essentially bodily experiences, and both felt senses and emotions relate meaningfully to our lives, to events and life situations. And felt senses and emotions differ in at least 3 ways. Emotions are nameable and knowable. We can put them in boxes. Sorry, we can put them in boxes, and you do sometimes get a list of emotions, and some or a list of core emotions. I don't know. I don't know if I'm using the right phrases, but you. I've seen books and well-known scholars, saying that basically all emotions boil down to these 4 emotions or these 7 emotions or whatever. Whereas felt senses are not something that you can put in a box. They're hard to define. They're unique, in fact, unique to each individual and each situation. Emotions come in culturally expected places. So people in my country might all tend to have to experience, I know, joy in a particular way or in a particular part of the body. In Russia or China or America, they might, in general, tend to experience joy in a different way. But it is very much culturally conditioned. Whereas felt senses are unique to the individual person's life situation. And the third difference that Anne highlights is that emotions narrow our awareness, whereas felt senses widen. And she does say that narrowing our awareness, the awareness, can be very helpful. It can have survival value. And it's also helpful to have space for something like focusing, where we widen our awareness and pay attention to what we call the felt sense. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say about the points that Anne raises in her book. So there's I guess I can stop sharing. And yeah, there's we can have a few minutes for comments and discussion, if you want. If there are any thoughts and comments before going to breakout rooms. If not, I mean, I could go on to the second part of the presentation, but we can do that after the breakout rooms, or even skip it completely.
Let's give people a minute just to take in everything that you said, Alistair. And of course, we're all thinking about our own focusing experience as you're talking to us, and sort of comparing our experience with what you're saying. And then it may be that there's more about our experience, because each person is different. And maybe some things that you said we don't experience, and that's good to hear. So anything that comes there about your own experience of focusing, and your own experience of the difference between felt sense and emotion. It's like focusing gives us a way of taking anything and looking at it and saying, well, what happens in me when I take that in? So that's what we're doing with what you told us. Sorry, but I don't know how to unpin you now, Alistair. I I was very grateful about the pinning, but how do I do it? Wait a minute. I think I found it.
Just remove pin, the corner.
In the corner. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, there's a top left corner.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It says remove.
Well, I found it really very, very, this is Shashi. Alistair, thank you for taking the time to, because you're a man of mathematics, right? That's what you like, math and logic and, thinking things in structured manner. It's very nicely how you have put it up like this. I'm gonna think more about it and try to have that structure and logic inside me, because felt sense is such an amorphous thing, so it's good to have it um, um, the way you're describing it. Yes. And then what Lynn said, I'm going to take that in. Thank you so much for explaining it, giving it a structure like that. Yeah, thank
I second what you're saying, Sashi, that it came to me that I'm used to people describing focusing from a therapeutic point of view. And then it's wonderful to have a tech mathematician point of view, or that way of taking it in and say, oh, look at this from this angle.
Mm.
Thank you,
Very good.
Alastair. I like
Yeah.
what you said about, I never thought about it this way. We can be focusing on some challenging stuff, but when you are focusing, when I am focusing, it's a, I can't remember the word you use, but some kind of positive experience.
Yeah.
And there is another dimension to that for me, is like, if I'm able to find the right distance from it, because sometimes it feels so
Mhm.
big and I feel so identified with it or so in
Mhm.
it, then it might not feel like a pleasant or positive experience.
Mhm.
But that I like that lens, that way of looking at it. Thank
Mhm.
you for that.
You're welcome. And yeah, that's reminding me of something else, which I'll try to get up. Uh,
I like that too, Sophie, that idea that even when things are really rough and difficult, the experience of focusing feels good. It's like what Jean says about coming home to focusing. It's like coming back to yourself and seeing a bigger picture as well as a more immediate picture.
and
Buster, I got on late and I was wondering if you could mention the name of the book.
it's Focusing in Clinical Practice by Ann Weiser Cornell. Yeah, so
I'm familiar with that.
yeah, and I'll put the slides in the chat again so that you can download them. But first, I wanted to share something that I had prepared for a different presentation about focusing as well. And yeah, I use this to, can you see the green blob?
Yes.
Yeah. This is actually also uh, inspired by Ann Weiser Cornell and Barbara McGavin. They don't use this particular image, but something similar to this, So for me, when I think about focusing, uh, I imagine one way of thinking about it is there's uh, sort of the comfort zone, the green area, which for me is things that I'm comfortable being with. I find easy to describe, and I guess that's where I spend most of my time, most of my experience and thought. Then there's the white area, which is things that are difficult to experience, maybe difficult to describe, and far out in the white, that would be overwhelming. So we don't want to go there. We don't want to go into the white area because it's too overwhelming. What we do in focusing is to hang out at the edge. That's fuzzy, uh, uh, dark edge between the green and the white, where we're experiencing just a little bit of the white sort of. So we're not getting overwhelmed, and we're not uh, just sticking to a comfort zone either. For me, that is what focusing is about. And I guess you can also use a similar image for, yeah, if you're training in something, you don't want to stick to just what is already easy for you and what you already know. You want to push yourself, but push yourself a little bit, just a little bit, maybe 1%, 2%, 4%, something like that. It's not that you can always measure these things, but if it feels like you're pushing yourself 10% or 20%, maybe you can do that once, but you don't want to do that every day. Whereas 1% every day, you can do that, yes. And that's what you want to do when you're training, so that you grow your comfort zone, you grow your abilities slowly, bit by bit, in a way that is sustainable and even enjoyable. And with focusing as well, we go a bit, maybe 1%, into the difficult areas of our life, not way out into the white area where we get overwhelmed, but just 1% out, hanging out at the edge. So I'll stop sharing, and I see that Rita raise her hand. Raise her hand. Hello, Rita.
Hey, Alistair. I don't know if you remember me. It's nice to see you.
Yes. Hey,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to something you said towards the beginning of your presentation about the felt sense, that it's not perhaps already there, it's forming. So it's forming. And I've been exploring that and read a little bit about that in Jenny's works. But I would be curious from your the way that you might understand it and express it. I would love to hear you speak about that. It's not already, it's an interaction. The felt sense itself is an interaction when we bring our attention and possibly symbolism already to it, or is there, so there's nothing there? I would love you to speak to it if you can, how you understand it.
Yeah. I haven't maybe reflected so much on that myself, but I guess part of it is just that when I'm focusing, I'm not only getting to know my experience, I'm also forming a relationship with it. And maybe I already have a relationship with it, but I'm trying to form a better relationship with it. So I guess that's one way in which we're being with something that is fresh, that I'm turning my attention, my awareness towards this experience, what happened last week, for example. And being with it gently, without judgment, so that it feels comfortable with me. It trusts me, as the and something else that Anne and Barbara say is that when you're focusing with a partner, the partner is listening to the focuser, and the focuser is listening to the felt sense. There's a relationship between the partner and the focuser, and between the focuser and their own felt senses. So that's I hope that spoke a bit to what you were mentioning.
I like the way that you say that the felt sense is an it or a him, that we have a relationship with this one. In parts work, we think of it as a particular part, but in focusing, it can be whatever it is that's in
Mhm.
us that is the client, what Jean calls the client's client,
Mhm.
the inner
Mhm.
one that we're dialoguing with.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mm.
Anne does say that her favorite word is something because it points to something specific, that you can feel, something tangible, I guess. And yet it's uh, very open. Something could refer something that the word something could refer to just about anything. But it helps you to start to form a relationship with that something.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that because as soon as we start using words, we begin to lock things down.
Mhm.
And I think it's a bit like a dance. You need to take a step,
Mhm.
but then you don't, whenever you take the next step, you don't just stay on the spot that you landed on, because the dance is about moving on, like the choreography. You have to then release that step to go and take the next step. So the something, it always reminds me that there's something more after that. I don't want to lock things down because, like you said, it's in relationship. It's going to change. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
And I see that Marvin has raised his hand.
Thank you, Alistair. Thank you very much. I would like to make a comment and then a question. Comment would be, seems like when you say we pay attention to, I heard Rita saying we bring attention to.
Marvin, could you put your volume up,
Yeah,
please? Thanks.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
No,
it's a bit better.
it's a little bit. Is it?
No, better. If you
I
could.
will try to speak a little
Uh,
bit
okay.
louder.
Yes, please.
First a comment and then a question. The comment is when we say we pay attention to,
Mm-hmm.
I could hear from Rita uh, something a little bit different about bringing my attention to. I bring my attention to.
Mhm.
And, and there's also a different angle to it, which is I remain attentive.
Uh-huh.
So something is forming. We can bring our attention to how to remain attentive to what is forming. Is it about this?
Sorry, I was distracted for a minute. Yeah, you're bringing your attention to what is forming. Yeah, that could use.
But let me ask a question. My question was, how did you come to that understanding? Was it through observation or through a self-experimentation? How
Ah,
did you come to the understanding of this?
um, well, I guess I mean the lists of features that I have in the slides, those are from the book, from uh, Ann Weiser Cornell's book, and I'm sure she has, not just she has decades of experience with focusing, and also with teaching focusing, and accompanying people who are new to focusing, and with writing about it. And her background is in linguistics, uh, so she pays particular attention to uh, to words and uh, how one word can be very similar to another word, but you want specifically this word and not that one. Mhm. Yeah, so I guess it's thanks to her, it's mostly copy and paste from the book. And I guess what I added was, yeah, the thing about that, for example, the the fact that the felt sense is bodily experienced, that is something that we want. Uh, Whereas the fact that it is vague and murky, it's not that we want it particularly, but if it's there, then we welcome it. I guess just like with people with problems, we don't want people to have problems, but if they do have problems, then we welcome them. We make space for them, and we try to see how we can live with them or help them.
I think it's a very important question and a deep question of how do we know? Is it from reading a book? Is it from observation? Is it from experimentation? And I think for me, it's all that the book or the presentation you're giving, Alistair, is something that then enters my world, and then it opens as I bring myself to it, as I attend to it.
Yes, thank you, Lynn. It's BJ, everybody. Hi. Marvin, I'm so glad you asked that question, the how question. And Lynn, the way you expanded it, I am feeling very uncomfortable because I want to say something that's very vulnerable. Ever since we started, I've noticed my toes are turning up, and there's a tension. My toes are turning up, and I take that to mean what you said, Alistair, about let's do 5% or let's do 10%. Let's don't jump in. And so I'm paying attention to that. My toes turning up, and what I want to share is something about returning to the spring, which has always been a powerful metaphor for me. When I see Alistair's name, I have this sense that I'm going to get to return to the spring. That your manner of presentation and the tone of your voice, remembering times we focused together, I felt like, and of course the experience just passed, but I felt kind of like a boiled egg, and the shell is just falling away by itself. We don't have to pick at it. We don't have to worry, is the whole shell going to come off this time? It's like, as Lynn said, the shell just falls away. And I can really feel that how do we experience focusing? So up until now this morning, I've been trying to read a process model for the 10th time. I have 4 different colors of ink on this page. And that's where I was coming here, like, ooh, 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 the what. And then, Alistair, when you started presenting with those slides, I just felt the what just falling away. And I, here and now, am able to have that experience. And I really thank you so much for the way that you do that. That's all I want to contribute today, the returning to the spring.
Thank you, BJ. And I see that Lip has his hand raised, and I'm also conscious of the time. So,
Okay.
uh,
Thank you, Alistair. I have a felt sense that animals do felt sensing, and I like to cast a light on human felt sensing by distinguishing the difference in 2 aspects. The first aspect is when we said we have a felt sense of the whole of the situation. How do we prompt that whole of a situation? The difference to the animal kingdom is our human situation includes a lot of cultural and larger influences and conditioning. And the other aspect that can be different from animals, I'm guessing here, is our concept of time, of past, present, and future. And I like to question whether focusing is on what's in present now, because the present implicitly contains the past and the future. And when we view the whole of the situation, not in scale of influences, but in scale of time, how do we put that into the experience of felt sensing? How much of the future, how much of the past, and how much of the present? Anyway, I'm just voicing my question. I don't know whether I'm making myself clear or not. I welcome responses from anyone to my question, including Alice.
I'd love to put my 2 cents in here, but maybe I've been talking too much.
There's room for everybody. I want to hear everybody.
Need to unmute
Yes,
myself.
yes.
But I'd like to give Alistair a chance.
No, I don't have anything particular to say.
I was saying, responding to Marvin, and also I've been studying, maybe not as concerned, Mike, but ECM, not the process, went through the process. But ECM really addresses this issue of concepts and experiencing, and how if concepts do not go back into experiencing, they kind of become dead. They become just shells. This is me speaking, not so much Gene. But if we go into the felt meaning, or the experience, the quality of not just feeling, but experience, concepts can emerge freshly. That's how new things come in Gene's. Everything has a bit of an edge, and implying forward implicit energy that then, and the difference I think with animals is that we symbolize much. Animals have felt senses, to be sure. I mean, we all can see that, but they don't have language the way we do, for the most part. That's where the symbols can carry forward the experience into meaning. That's how I understand it.
Something that you mentioned, Charles, reminded me of another concept that I came across, not in focusing, but I guess the concept of co-evolution, that language and culture, and in our case, our brains, this very sophisticated and large organ that we have, and also again our particular stomachs and digestive system, they evolved together over thousands of years. A small change in culture and leads to changes in our language and our diet, and then that leads to changes in the digestive system. It's not that one thing that first the brain evolves, and then because of that we can eat different foods, for example, or we can start to speak, or that language evolves first, and then because of that our brains grow. They evolve together, at the same, over thousands and tens of thousands of years.
Emerges from the language emerges from the body.
Yeah, eventually. So,
I want to respond to what Charles was saying because I was watching a video by Hideo Tanaka and on ECM, and he says about ECM that the word felt sense does not appear in ECM, that it was written before they used the term felt sense, but he talks about felt meaning. But later, in later works, the two terms are used to mean the same thing. But in ECM, you talked about animals having felt senses. I don't think from an ECM standpoint you would say that. I'm not even sure from a process model standpoint. You could say they have felt meaning, but I don't know if you can say they have felt senses.
Yeah, we might get caught up on here on what we mean by words.
Well, it's
Certainly,
more than what we mean by words in this case, because they have different felt meanings.
you have a cat or a dog or any animal that they have an intuitive feel.
They have
Yeah.
felt meaning,
Okay. Yeah, I can
which is different. The
I,
felt sense is a thing as opposed to,
right. No, I felt sense. Okay. I maybe my language is imprecise. They don't have a felt sense in the sense of an emergent meaning coming from experiencing. They do have way human.
which is why chapter 8 of a process model is different than chapter 6. Uh, there aren't felt senses in chapter 6.
There's a beginning of just of symbolic language. So very in gestures in
And
chapter
Yes,
6.
no, that's in chapter 7, gestures.
I'm I'm sorry, but I would love it if the two of you would say what the difference for you is, Jim, between felt sense and felt meaning, and Charles, just so that I can have a better sense of what you mean.
Well, the felt sense is really a product of focusing, while felt meaning exists all the time.
Agreed. Animals don't vote.
Okay, I got to interrupt. We don't know what animals do.
No, we have a model for what animals do, and I'm
Yeah.
talking from the standpoint of the process model. You may have a different model, and your model, you don't know what animals do.
That's right. It's good to have you identify that you're speaking about a model, Jim. I really appreciate that. And you too, Charles. There's a kind of an AI certainty that I experience in both of your voices. And I just want to speak up for the animals in my model, not in my belief. We don't know what animals do.
Well, I think this is a point maybe to go into breakout rooms and to see what we all are thinking and feeling from here. I have little guy here with me who might be able to answer these questions personally, but he isn't speaking English yet. So does that seem right that we should go into breakout rooms and see where we are from here?
yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Good for me.
Okay. So 15 minutes, is that good?
Yeah. Yeah, that will give us time, 10 minutes afterwards for discussion and closing.
Yes. Good. Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm gonna download this.
So, Alistair, shall we ask them happened in the breakout rooms where we went there?
Yeah. If I could mention just one thing that came up in our breakout room was that the issue of whether machines can have felt senses. And yeah, I imagine the answer for me is no for now. And one group of people who are looking into that and trying to understand also human consciousness and machine consciousness. Yeah, there's a group that is trying to come up with scientifically testable hypothesis. I put the link in the chat.
Oh,
There's some well-known philosophers over there and other scholars. So at least they're people that I respect, So it might be interesting. But yeah, that's
And
what I
then
want.
I was responding to Alistair because he was in the breakout room that I feel it's almost essential for the people that understand the felt meaning, even the felt sense, being able to describe it, to be in that presence, in that uncomfortable place in the murky area, so that we don't all just easily go towards AI and the robots and become that, because the general public will easily, because they don't like the uncomfortable area, they will easily go to robots easily.
aha.
Frightening.
Nancy, I'm curious about what happened in your breakout room.
What happened in our breakout room? What do you think, Susan?
Michael, maybe you can just, Michael, maybe you can say something. We were very experiential, so the
I
words
didn't
are
mean
coming
to
to
put
me.
you on the spot. I just
Yeah.
We were very experiential, so the words are not coming to me, but Michael, maybe you can.
We wondered some about the animals' feelings and we spent a little bit of time on that, but then I got off of the total focusing, I guess, and got to mindfulness and was wondering with myself, had I been mindful over the previous weekend? And decided, and because sometimes things just whiz by, but decided, well, I guess I spent time being with different people at different moments. So that was good personal, mindful time. It wasn't just racing around.
yeah. The
So
just being.
Say again?
I was just reflecting the just being.
Yes,
It's so
yes.
important, and it's different than focusing. Being.
Can I, if I circle back to the beginning of our session, Lynn, when you mentioned this day, the first day, the last day, and then in the breakup with BJ, I was very touched by her words of the word beat and abide, and the fact that I don't know, I invite her to share what she can about our breakout room, if she wants to.
It's basically for me an answer to your question about how do we bring the past and the future with us into the focusing present moment. And we in English, we bid the future. We invite the future. And we abide with what is past, because every moment we can speak, that was the past. And so that play between bidding and abiding captures the answer to that question for me.
It's beautiful. We have just a couple more minutes, and I sense that there are a few more comments that want to happen before we have our poem.
One thing I said at the beginning was that I felt a lot of gratitude towards practicing with you all, being with a group of people that feel this emergence, that can experience the jumping off a cliff or the falling away of the eggshell, and that are open to it and will do it again, even if sometimes they forget about it or it's scary or other things take over. It's really wondrous.
Thank you, Susan. I feel that way too, and it brings me back to this moment, that this meeting is almost over, the last meeting of this year, and I also feel so grateful for the opportunity to practice with all of you. I see a hand up, and I can't see who it is. Marvin. Yeah.
It's Marvin. Marvin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the group, at some point in time, we were talking about conditions. Is that? And it's only afterwards that it came to my mind. But it seems there's a kind of mechanism called self-preservation. And could the condition is kind of a rule-based element in our construction, rule-based. Could there be that same phenomenon that exists with state? Our state in a way, and there's a rule, but the state should remain in this condition. Could there be something of a self-preservation that can manifest or not, depending on a few things, I guess. But when it manifests, it's override everything. It overrides this whole system. It kind of reset back. It doesn't reset like to now for the future, but it reset back. Go back to that. Go back to, like you play Monopoly, you go to jail, do not pass go.
Well,
Can I
maybe
just mention, just come to me now, the focusing process, the two English words, abide and bid. So in focusing, we are bidding the felt sense to form, bidding, welcoming it. And then the abide, when it comes, abide by me, the word we say, abide by me, stay with me, encourage me, abide with me, and I buy you to come. Anyway, that's the sound of the word bide and abide.
yes. Bid and abide. And I think maybe those will be our last words for this year. And thank you all for being with us. And Dorothy has our poem, and we'll see you next week in the new year.
Hi. The poem to me has a lot to do with the spaces in between, what to do with the spaces in between, so to speak. And it's called Homecoming by Landis Grenville, and she is lives in Florida. One bridge and then another over the fisherman's net of still water and high secreting grasses. Here the bare cypress trees throw themselves from the banks like wailing women, their hands scraping at the sky's silent faces in the gray rags of Spanish moss. This home is always shifting, the water reaching up to take what it will. There are days I cannot find myself between the steps of my parents' home and the long sigh of afternoon rain. Each time I leave, it is the last time. Time passes faster when I'm not there. So now she does not know my face. And the house has sunk further into unkept green. How far can we carry memory before it is something else? How long can a man at sea call himself her husband and not someone who is lost? Between here and what's not, I come, as all strangers, to the door to wait for the stranger who answers.
Wow. Thank you, Dorothy.
It's in the chat.
Thank you so much, Alistair. We really appreciate your way of organizing all of that and giving it to us.
Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Alistair.